Were you aware of this? And let's get into it. So it's basically this from who is referred as Token 2049. Goes on to mention meet Hedera, platinum partner at Token 2049. And let's bring this to your attention of the open source POS network that's incredibly fast, energy efficient, secure, solidity based, smart contract support, and developer friendly APIs. Now, I want to state this, okay? Every now and then, when it comes to CTN and our coverage, we like to have a topic of the week. All right, I'm going to state this. I think the topic for at least the next couple of days, or maybe very well for the rest of the week, because let's face it, we only got tomorrow and Friday because we don't do weekend shows anymore, should be smart contracts. Yes, smart contracts, smart contracts, smart contracts, right? I'm not Steve Ballmer, right? Developers, 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 but I want you to ingrain that into your head and why that's so important, because again, the key thing here is utility-based projects with solid use case, but smart contracts. When we get to that stellar segment, again, smart contracts. You know where I'm going with this? Sorbonne, right? So this is Hedera. Check this out. And it mentions some of these key things, right? And I thought, of course, that would be cool to share this with you. On top of that, I want to share this, which is very bullish in itself. Reported yesterday, says we see Hedera Consensus Service as one of the key innovations developed by Hedera and a foundation for cryptographically verifiable traceability in healthcare software. As we know, again, with healthcare, very bureaucratic, but if anything, there needs to be innovative technology where things move a hell of a lot faster than where they're at right now. That's the bottom line. What's it say here? HCS leveraging Hedera public network to anchor legacy data transactions. Right, legacy data transactions on the old systems of these old healthcare solutions, which are very, very outdated solutions. In this particular screenshot, which was taken from this video, you will see, for instance, this representation. And if anything, the point is, what I'm going to show you right here, and if they don't fast forward to it, I'll take you to there anyway. Let's get you over to there. Let's pull this up, and let's see if it loads right up. No, it doesn't. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the 32-minute mark. Give me just a moment. All right. And here's basically what they're kind of talking about. And I'll just stop it at the 31-minute mark. We're going to play a brief clip about this, but it states, this was just 2 days ago. All right, I'm going to share this tab instead. And that's how to use the Hedera network to improve public health reporting. Public health reporting in itself definitely is an industry that needs to be a lot more smoother, faster, and more reliable. It says, the rise in opiate mortality and substance abuse is a critical challenge for public health. It is. It says Oker, if I'm probably not pronouncing that right, has partnered with the centralized Hedera Consensus Service to provide an innovative solution. Listen to this. They have this whole thing about the webinar. They, of course, have this introduction about the decentralized nature, consensus mechanism. And again, you're all welcome to nerd it out if you have more time to do so. But I want to highlight this key area just for a brief moment. So we're going to go ahead and play this, smash that like, and then after that, yes, Mr. Michael Montclair, you probably wonder, how do I have anything to do with healthcare? We're going to get to that segment here in a bit. It's not in regard to healthcare, but Hedera. All right, so check this out. Here we go.
Data is being maintained as public.
Yeah, no doubt. In fact, I'm going to show an example very specifically about that. So I think that the short of it is we create topics that make sense to us sometimes. The topics and the example that you'll see here would be clear text and readable, human readable. Sometimes it's pseudonymized topics, so you can't necessarily tell just what the topic is. But then almost always what we do in terms of the actual payload, the message that's associated to the topic or to the transaction, there is an encrypted payload for the actual content, and optionally, depending on what kind of arrangement we have or what the sensitivity is of the payload, we have some things that can be indexed, in English and are human readable. So I'm going to show an example of that. And then again, to be very clear, we do not put health data, like no patient, health data is existing on a public ledger. That will violate all kinds of HIPAA, and certainly doesn't make sense to do so, and at least at this time. Yeah, so this picture basically kind of is just a picture of what I've more or less described, right? We do a lot of work, in our databases, but with these databases, many times what we do is we actually, in real time, like in what's called in memory, we reach out using open APIs, the FHIR APIs, the Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, to connect to, for instance, an Epic healthcare system, and in memory, retrieve or just read the information we need, and then we create a hash of that in real time, and we store the hash. So we don't actually store, even within our encrypted, if you like, protected database, the April platform, we don't actually store the health data itself. The health data itself could well be sitting somewhere here in the ether within an Epic system or whatever system it happens to belong in. So we're very, very kind of conservative about where is the actual data, and what we do use quite advanced technologies to make sure that data can be authentic, and the transactions or the aggregations and visualizations we do on it make sense without necessarily storing that even within our system, much less on Hedera.
All right, so I wanted to show you that just real quick, and it's a good example that he gave you in regards to healthcare. Now, there's a lot more than just the whole healthcare update in regards to Hedera. So I want to jump back, and I want to show you a little bit more of what we have. Very impressive stuff, to say the least. And let's just get into this, okay? So here it is. Let's get into this. It is in regards to music. And what I want to show you is this. Let's jump into it. So I'm going to come back in the frame, and you know where I'm going with this, especially if you're a type of person who's been watching CTN for a while, in regards to the one and only Mr. Michael Montclair, the musical talents of Michael Montclair. We will highlight his channel. By all means, give him a sub. Great music, especially if you have any taste at all, you'll enjoy it. We'll get into his channel here in a bit, but check this out. Me personally, I am very bullish on audio, right? I feel as though that's a great platform. But what I love is to see another utility layer, if you will, when it comes to something similar, but with Hedera. Enter in this, and that is basically the future of music, like it says, on Hedera. Now, how long ago was this published? Well, basically speaking, it was earlier today, right? Not even a full 12 hours ago, okay? 11:10 my time. Goes on to state that their new multi-file music NFT, which is referred to as Hello Future, shows how creators can unlock new possibilities and experiences. And if anything, I know you're watching Michael Montclair, and I love you, brother. I think you need to look into this, my friend. I'm just saying, give you a suggestion. You don't have to do anything. But I know a lot of times we talk about various different cryptos. I know that you're bullish on, I think, Stellar XRP, right? Maybe you hold one but not the other. I can't remember that particular part. But hopefully you do have some Hedera and that you feel very bullish on us. Again, the name it shows, do your own research with Max, right? DYOR with Max. Even if you're not a musician like Michael Montclair, take a look into this, guys. This is really, really big. Indie artists struggle in the music industry. Yes, do they not, right? Think about the whole concept, especially you guys know me. I love 90s hip hop, 80s and 90s hip hop, right? Think about like the music industries, Death Row Records and all that, and Bad Boy Entertainment and so on. And again, the big record labels and how they literally crush the hopes and dreams of aspiring artists, right? So when we talk about the decentralization of various different cryptocurrencies, right, especially when it comes to the payment rails, well, the decentralization of the music industry is definitely an industry that needs to be what, guys? Decentralized. I think we can all agree on that. Indie artists struggle, of course, in that music industry with barriers placed between them and their fans. Yes, their careers and livelihood are controlled by a handful of companies. again, think about, where we're going with this. I mean, if we pay attention to the whole concept of the Bitcoin white paper, and that being like the inception of where everything blossoms from there on out, enter in Hedera, enter into this whole concept of just that, the decentralization of the music industry. Says, we started building on Hedera. We knew the future for music was brighter than ever. And of course, this part right here, because I know some of you guys are obviously in NFTs, says we were able to mint a multi-file NFT that contained 14 multimedia files, 3D object, audio, video, and so much more. It was, of course, carbon negative. Of course, it's going to be carbon negative. This is Hedera, for crying out loud, the greenest of the green when it comes to distributed ledger technologies. I would say number 2 would be Algo, but like I've always mentioned, it's not even close, right? Furthermore, royalties, right? This is a big thing, right? Because as a musician, it is all about the royalties, right? YouTube try to take it to a whole other level, and let's face it, they went a little bit bat-ish crazy with that, right? Even I, as a content creator, I mean, I can't even share most things without getting copyright flagged, right? So where is that balance, basically? Well, take a look at this, right? So it says royalties are controlled by the layer 1 protocol, which is Hedera itself. It says artists have further peace of mind. They'll be able to support just that themselves. Isn't that what it should be all about anyway? Right? Shouldn't we keep the best interest at heart of these struggling musicians? Give them a platform where they can thrive, right? The best part, low fixed fees. Only costs $1 to create a collection and just 2 cents for each NFT you mint. Oh my God. So projects building on Ethereum. Really going to have musical artists wanting to put all their money into Ethereum and get killed with gas fees? You know where we're going. A lot of companies are getting whiff of the Hederas, the XDCs, and so on. A little bit more about this. And this is bullish because this is today's news, right? A lot of things have been happening, obviously, with Hedera. The music industry and indie artists alike need a trust layer. We're always talking about the internet of trust, but the internet of value as well, are we not? To make music to the next level globally. Builders on Hedera are making this possible. And it goes on to about this whole thing about metadata standards. Listen to this. HIP 657 in the pipeline. They're going to see a creative step function soon. They made this rock and roll song called Hello Future. We're going to play it here in a bit. Hopefully you don't get flagged for it, but if we do, I think it's okay because we don't have no ads, right? So I don't think the lives are monetized, believe it or not. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's going to spread awareness of the music movement on Hedera and show what's possible with just that, a multi-file NFT. They're in a, like it says here, there's more information about it. So Michael Montclair or any of you other guys who may be into music, go to dd.style/hellfuture to learn more about this and see if anything, if it's going to be worthwhile to you as an independent musical artist, right? Maybe there's more information about, like, for instance, hey, you're going to get rewarded even that much more so because you hold what? The Hedera, cryptocurrency coin or coins, whatever bait you have. I don't know. Again, that's part of doing more of your own research. But the point is, it states they have independent artists, like we mentioned earlier. They have a creative firm who's here to support others on this journey into the era of tokenized. Yeah, you read that right. Tokenized music. Remember how many times we mentioned, the tokenization of anything and everything? Well, how about key things that simply make sense to be tokenized? We gave the examples earlier about the healthcare industry, and now another example about the music industry. Hedera is flat out killing it, man. I'm telling you, flat out, they are killing it. And we'll bring you this particular interview here in a minute or so from Dr. Leon Baird and the other founder of Hedera. But I'm going to play this. This is called, what's the name of that song? Hello Future. All right, 2 minutes long. Please smash that like, especially if you hold HBAR. Here we go.
Hello, future. I see you coming round. Are you ready? 'Cause it's going you know already. Our new kids in town. Hello, future. I see you coming round. Are you ready? 'Cause it's going down. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I need a little bit of love. I say to give me some of that love. I say to give me some of that love. Headed to the moon. We got NFTs and a DeFi space. And there is the place.
That wasn't bad. Whether that's your type of music or not too bad, right? You know, I think that was pretty impressive. All right. So with that said, let's take you on over to the one and only Mr. Michael Montclair and his particular platform on YouTube. So Michael is a guy who's in our comments. He's been a longtime supporter of CTN. He's part of the CTN crypto family, obviously. And here is his particular page. Unfortunately, he had to make a new one. He needs to get some momentum back. You may think, well, so what, man? I'm a stick in the mud, and why should I have to go support this guy? Well, that's on you, but let's give you a taste of why you should give Michael Montclair that sub, right? We just played another video from you, but you want to know something? I think this takes the cake. So I'm going to show you Frank Sinatra's The Days of Wine and Roses, uploaded 1 day ago from the one and only Mr. Michael Montclair. And by all means, give him a sub. You can find him on Michael Space Montclair on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure that Mr. Tim Shea or something like that is really on top of it and giving you a link to his channel. Let's play this. It's only about 2 minutes. Enjoy the musical talents of Mr. Michael Montclair. Really appreciate you, Michael. This one's for you, my friend. Boom.
The days of wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child at play through a meadowland toward a closing door, a door marked nevermore that wasn't there before. The lonely night discloses just a passing breeze, filled with memories of the golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you. The days of wine and roses. The lonely night discloses just a passing breeze, filled with memories of a golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you.
All right, the musical talents of the one and only Michael Montclair. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate you, man. All right, we're now going to jump into the last part of our Hedera coverage. Please smash that like, and let's take you right to a key area of this interview that I listened to on the way home this morning. Stuck out in traffic, and I was listening to this particular interview, and I said to myself, I got to remember that part. So check this out. Dr. Lehman Baird. Who doesn't like listening to one of the most, if not the most, right, smartest guys in DLT, all of DLT. I'm very impressed, obviously, with, Gilbert Verdi and so on. But as far as actually just being that whiz, the mad scientist of crypto, if you will, right, the Doc Brown, Lehman Baird takes the cake, right? So I want to share this with you. Let's jump into it. And here it is. I'm going to come back into the frame for just a brief moment. I'm going to give you a description about this. So it was about 12 days ago, and maybe you guys are subscribed to the HBAR Bull. I'm going to give him a follow and a sub, actually. It's Mance Harmon and Dr. Lehman Baird in this interview. All right. It's called Hedera Ecosystem and HBAR Economy, Past, Present, and Future. Now, you may be wondering why highlight some of these key things. Well, look what's mentioned. In this exclusive interview with Hedera co-founders Mance Harmon and Lehman Baird, we do a deep dive into the Hedera ecosystem and the HBAR economy. They, of course, discuss the initial vision, how they got to this point, and where we are now and the future for this amazing platform. I want you guys to just simply remember this key word, DeFi. And if anything, we're going to hop into this right now. Play roughly, 6 to possibly 10 minutes, give or take. Please smash that like. But the key thing is listen to what Lehman Baird has to share on this interview. Here we go.
I know in the beginning you see the potential and you think everything's going to happen right away, but it takes a long time to get all those things we talked about, the infrastructure and everything and like that in place. And once that's in place, that's when things really start to get exciting. And that's what we're seeing now. All that stuff is in place. So I think the next 5 years are going to be really impressive. So Lehman, I'm going to go to you next. We've heard a lot about DREC lately. Can you tell us why you decided to focus on decentralized recovery lately?
Oh, yeah. So we care about Hedera. We are building the Hedera network. We want it to be the best possible thing. Then broader than that, we care about the Hedera community, and we want to enable other people to be building on top of it. And we're very excited about all the different kinds of community members building all kinds of things on top of it. But we are also interested in the even broader thing of the blockchain DLT community. And we want to aid it and do anything we can to make this as a whole take its rightful place of being part of every part of society, every part of the economy, every part of education. Everything we do will have ledgers, DLTs, blockchains as part of it. And we really want to make sure that happens as fast as possible too. And so part of what we are looking at is what is the thing this industry as a whole needs the most. And maybe you would say regulatory clarity. And I agree. Maybe we had some good news yesterday. We're all really happy about that. There's much rejoicing, which is great. But I don't have a whole lot of control over that. I don't control those things. But what we also see as a real impediment to DLTs going from the enthusiasts, the experts, the degens, the people who are really into it, we need to expand to the other 99% of humanity on this planet. And the key to that, I think one of the big things is it's got to be incredibly easy to use, maybe even invisible. It's built into your other apps. You don't even know about it, which means it needs to have the safety net that every part of your life has. If you lose the password to your bank account, you will eventually be able to get in. You can go to the bank in person. You can go to the courts and recover it. There's always a safety net. If you lose the key to your house, you can get a locksmith to come, or you put a brick through the window. There is always a safety net in every area of your life. And if you lose your crypto keys, you've lost everything. No safety net. Okay, this is maybe okay for the enthusiasts, although you still hear horror stories of people losing vast amounts of money. But it is not okay for the typical person who doesn't even know what this stuff is. And when they hear about crypto, they think it's like a bank account. And of course, there's going to be a safety net. Everything in my life has a safety net. How could there not be? We as an industry have to build the safety net. And so that's what DREC is. It's you find helpers that are willing to help you. Your computer or your device is asking them every day, invisibly behind the scenes, are you still helping me? And then when you lose your device, any half of them can come together and help you. And it should also be built into even industrial grade things where the helpers come sort of automatically. There's just a lot going on. So we are talking to a lot of different players in the Hedera community, but we are also talking to other blockchains, other DLTs. We are talking to lots of DLTs right now because this is something the industry as a whole needs to work on. And it's not multi-sig on the ledger where you reveal how many people are helping you. It's all private and it's all, they just go and help you. And you're checking them every day and you have automatic recovery. And when you add a new person, it automatically changes what everyone else is holding, all of that stuff. And we are working with anyone. And although we're talking to a lot of other ledgers right now, if anyone listening to this would also like to come help, come talk to us. We are trying to put together an alliance of as many people as possible because it helps the industry. And of course, if it helps the industry, it also helps the Hedera ecosystem because we're part of this industry. But that's why we got into this. Because we care about the industry as a whole, and we care about the world as a whole. It needs DLTs. The world really needs what we have. And we as an industry have the solution to a real problem. We just have to make it possible for people to use it.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things, the argument of having custodians and exchanges and things like that is you could always recover it. Well, we saw all the issues that can come from that. But now that we have the potential for having this safety net, you can have, the trust of being able to maintain your own keys, but also have the ability to recover it if necessary in a decentralized way.
You're right. You can always have your safety net by using centralization. Give it all to somebody you trust, like FTX, right? You trust them. Okay, maybe that doesn't work so well. We need to be decentralized in our trust as well.
Sure, absolutely. And this could actually be used for things beyond storing your crypto and things like that, right?
Absolutely. This has nothing to do with being specific to keys or being specific to accounts or being specific to crypto. This is about any secrets. So you can store your passwords this way. You can store the combination to your safe this way. Anything that you have, your grandmother's recipe that you really care about, anything that you have that is a secret that you don't want to lose, you can make sure that no one sees it and that you don't lose it. Or at least you can make it hard for those to happen. You can have a safety net. And so it's not just about crypto. It's not just about cryptographic keys. It's about everything.
And that's what we need to do. We need to show that this industry can bring things that add value to everything throughout our society.
So there's a lot more to that particular interview, obviously. And, by all means, if you're a big proponent of Hedera, I would highly recommend to check out the entire video in its entirety. All right. 3 key things I want to talk about in closing that you just saw there. So my thing is this. There is always entry platforms for everybody who is new to crypto. Is there not? Me back in the day and a lot of other people, we were noobs, right? You may be a noob right now. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but that's just a reality, a term that I use. So for me, as a crypto noob back in the day, Robinhood was my first entry point into crypto. My buddy tells me, man, you're not going to be able to get Dogecoin cheaper than 1 penny. I'm telling you flat out, it's literally going to go up probably tonight or tomorrow. It did. But Robinhood was my entry point. Here's the key thing. With all the bad news that's happened in regards to FTX and so on, what is the narrative that still is in the people's minds for the most part, even our minds? But let's face it, like people, the naysayers are like, I don't want to get into crypto. It's not safe. What rings in their mind or in their ears is that looming thought of FTX and so on. So they have a lot of fear. And like as the saying goes, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt. Well, Hedera, what you just heard from Dr. Lehman Bear, sounds very, very secure. You lose your keys, you lose your seed phrases and so on. They can be the platform where, guess what? If you have that, moment, guess what? They're the platform with the most security. Now, some people, of course, have studied in the past. The only reason why Ethereum survives the way it does and so on, and why enterprise solutions from the past still stick with them, is because of just that security. But what if you have a platform in which has both the security, the speed, and just, let's face it, the entire package? They're eco-green. They're the greenest of the greens, as we showed earlier. And you have all these things that Dr. Lehman Baird mentioned. And I also like this concept, right? So it's not just the retail side of things, newcomers coming in and instilling that confidence of, here is the platform to put, to obviously get into, if you will, is an entry point. If my original entry point was like, God, I know, bear with me, Dogecoin, what about new entry points for people coming fresh off of that, as I would say, the fresh off the ship of Robinhood, for crying out loud? Can you have entry points for fresh off the boat of Hedera? Doesn't that sound amazing in itself? You know how much supply and demand that creates? And then how about this in closing? I said I'd make 3 points, but in reality, maybe this is 2. Maybe it's 3. I don't know. I'm not really counting at this point. All right. So he mentioned physical assets, right? Like he was talking about a recipe. Forget the whole concept of recipe. I mean, I understand that people have the concept of, that's sentimental, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Put that on blockchain. But you know where I'm going with this, right? So some of you guys are obviously invested into Constellation DAG because we understand that big government connection, especially with the Air Force. Could it very well be, and I don't think this is too much of a stretch, right? Dr. Lehman Baird is an incredibly smart individual with a very unique platform of the HASHGRAPH consensus, right? That gossip protocol. We know that's not blockchain. That's his own DLT technology, is it not? So my thing is this. When we talk about the future of Web3, aren't we also talking about what the government needs to be trusted into, instill that confidence, so that clarity? What if the government in the future literally chooses Hedera to be that platform to store, and I don't think this is a stretch, because think about what he mentioned, for instance, like top secret files, because it's got the highest level of security encryption out there. You don't think that is going to be worth a tremendous amount of money in the future? There's a reason why Hedera is consistently in my top 5. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to sell you on anything, just trying to bring you guys the news, the updates, and the educational side of things. But if you understand Hedera and where we're going here in the near future, I think it's also part of that generational wealth. Yeah, we had that discussion the other day. Somebody asked me, Max, pick XLM or Hedera. Which one's going to be worth more? I'm still going to go with XLM. But at the same time, there's no way I'm going to dismiss not having some Hedera. I got a pretty decent sized bag in regards to Hedera, and I'm glad that I have chose to get into it at some of these prices that was considered very undervalued prices in the past. I still think it's undervalued, even though I'm into the profits. Some of you guys are way higher in profits than me, but that's not the point. The key thing is this accumulation phase that we're in. Is Hedera one of those in which we're going to run out of time? I think so. Is it going to be like next month? Well, of course not. But the key thing is know what you hold in regards to these distributed ledger technologies and everything that they are tied into. When we talk about multiple layers of utility, Hedera ranks way up there, part of that cream of the crop, if you will.